Hello, YouTube. This is Problematic Boy. I thought that in lieu of the Bleed News being very good, and the fact that I did say I was playing Wilt Carino, and I'm having a blast with Wilt Carino right now, and that's what I'm gonna, be playing for most of the rest of the season, I think, of this Torchlight season. I browsed YouTube. There's not too many videos on Wilt Carino, so I thought I would at least give it some exposure and show my build overview, talk a little bit about the build, do a little demonstration, even a T8 demonstration I think I'll do. And talk about the budget I'm on right now. It's a pretty budget build. And by budget, I mean this is around 100 FE, maybe a little more, so maybe like around the 150 range. And I'm currently dummy capped, so dummy capped on DPS. I'll do a demonstration of a T8, just so you can see. We'll do Blustery Canyon. And I'll compass it a little bit. Let's just see. Boom. Now, I normally don't die in these, but leave it to a video where I probably will die, so. Since I'm recording. I'll just do baby compasses. Actually, I'll do that one. I'll do three baby ones and that. And yeah, I'll talk a little bit about what Carino, the even more budget options that you can do with this build. I mean, to get this build to a point where you're killing T7 really fast is really cheap. I mean, really cheap. And then getting to a point where you can clear T8 pretty good is, around my budget, which is, like I said, 100 to 150 FE, very cheap as well. To get it to that point. I mean, I was doing, I was able to do T8s without having Memory Dagger. But Memory Dagger definitely helps. I'd say once you get Memory Dagger and the Hero Relic and Hero Memories, you're pretty much smooth sailing. I mean, that's pretty much the core of the build right now for me. And I was able to dummy cap with it, so I'll go over it a little bit after we finish this off with this T8. As you can see, very smooth. We're just, jumping around. We'll look at my gear after this, and then I'll show the skill setup. Not too bad. And then we'll get out of here. So that was a T8. And yeah, I do T8 Watchers. I haven't taken him into Uber Traveler yet, because I haven't done that fight yet on any character. So I haven't taken him into any like hard bosses or anything like that, but I am doing T8s, doing T8 Watchers, and then smashing everything else that is below that content, of course. So let's take a look at the gear. That's not the gear. This is the gear. And then I'll go over some other stuff. Now, this isn't really the most original build, but I just wanted to, show it off and put it out there. So I'm not going to, take ownership over it or anything like that. But this is, what I've been doing. Very budget helmet. Look at this helmet. Not even a single Team 1 on it. Let's move my camera so that we can better just see all the gear. So not a single Team 1 on it. And then I have the so basically I have just this is like a 5 FE chest, and you don't need eventually you want to go for the corrosion on this mod so that you can get wear infinity for more damage, but right now I'm not doing that. Chain Behind the Curtain, I mean, I got it for 2 to 5 FE with this corrode on it, which is actually a helpful one. It can be corroded for more affliction inflicted. That's obviously good, but it's also good enough, just without it gives you permanent blur. I have a Torturous Touch with the good corrosion on it. Now this sort of bumps up the cost of the build to around 180 FE, but it's not unnecessary corrosion. It just helps a lot. So it's very Torturous Touch, very good. I think these gloves without the corrosion, yeah, are very cheap. So you can just get those. I'm wearing a Light Hunter belt. until we get this corrosion, of course, just to give more energy shield and the constant recharge. You can also go with an infinity with Barrier of Radiance for the constant recharge if you want to do that instead. Running King's Boons. I may or may not go for Lone Walkers. I haven't decided yet, but King's Boons, you know, they do stuff. More with Less might not even be worth it, so I might even try out a pair of crafted boots for a little bit. I might even try those out, so... Yep. We have a cheapo rain of Wilted Rain. This is just a nice cheap rain. Gives you less radius, so I should probably get rid of it. But 40 affliction inflicted per second helps out with our reap on the gloves. So it's very nice. Just very cheap rain. And then I have this rain with ailment damage and reaping duration on it. And it's just, you know, a semi-crappy Thunderbane rain. And then we have... the memory. Once you get the memory, the build pretty much triples in DPS. I went from 300 million to... so I'll show the 3 different setups that I had, right? So basically, my first setup was around 70 million DPS, clearing T7 super cheap. And then I had a 300 million DPS after I put 30 FE into the build. So I put 30 FE, bought the Wiping Family Silver Bullets and the Relic, and I got up to 300 million DPS from 70. And then I got a memory for 59 FE, and I went up to dummy cap. So that's basically the 3 versions of my progression of the build, my build progression. Basically, all the same stuff, but the weapons changed, and the relic of the memory changed. So for our offhand, we have this. We're working on Ominous in it, but we have basically everything that we would want, and we're going to Restless this ailment damage off for Affliction effect, I think. So we're working for +2 skill level here. Everything else is good. You want additional ailment damage. You want T1 skill base damage to base Wilt damage. This is a filler. Ailment duration. Ailment damage, which you can replace, like I said, with the Restless. And then I think this mod is way too good. The additional stack of Wilt mod. So that's the gear. Let me talk about the more budget gear options I was using. Before I had memory, I was using Repeated End. And I was using a only, so my 70 million setup, I didn't have any relic or memories that were really that good, right? I was using a Repeated End for the explosion. What a target explode on death. And I was using only a 4 mod Guilt Short Blade. So I had ailment duration, I had ailment damage. I had T2 Wilt, and I had T2 additional ailment damage and minus spell damage. So just a 4 mod item. You just put 2 fillers. You go for your 2 suffixes, ailment duration and ailment damage. Then you put on 2 fillers on your prefixes and then just ruling to replace them. And it was super easy. And I was running, Repeated End with a crappier version of this weapon. And I was getting about 70 million DPS without any reload speed and using Desperate Measure, which Desperate Measure goes crazy once you actually get the reload speed. So that was my very budget setup of like, okay, that's probably like 10 FE, and then this is 15, maybe let's go on the high end. So this is 5, 20, 23, and then boots or whatever, and these were 1 FE. So basically like a 25 FE setup to do T7s fast in a good way. 70 million DPS will do that just fine. And then I spent 30 FE total. This was only 15 FE, 45% memory effect. These were 3 FE each. Or no, they were 5 FE each. So I got these for 5 FE each. 30% reload speed for each one, so that's 90% plus the memory effect. And so I spent a total of 30 FE on this. My DPS, I didn't change any other gear. DPS went from 70 million to 300 million. Okay, so that's your second step, is to get these that's your next upgrade path, right? Get the relic and memories sorted out, and then here are your traits. You don't really change these. Evil Ouroboros, Dart Shot, and then a Desperate Measure. So, Desperate Measure, great. And yeah, that got me up to 300 million, and then I would definitely say save for the memory next. Once you have everything set up, and then I'll go over the talents. Save for the memory next. I got mine for 59 FE. I saw some for 60. I saw some for 70. It's not that bad once you get to a point where you're farming T7s. And once I got my Hero Relic of Memories, I was doing a few T8s too. Because 300 million, I mean, you can still do T8s on that. To get your memory, right? Just sell things, sell compasses, get that FE, farm, play the game. You will get a memory fairly quickly. It took me, I don't know, like less than 10 hours of farming. So it wasn't that bad at all. I mean, less than 6 hours of farming even. I mean, I was farming, but it's not that bad, right? So yeah, remember I got like basically the worst one on the market. It's doing great for me. And that's currently where the build is. I haven't really made any other upgrades other than getting this to this point, right? But the memory took me from 300 million to dummy cap. So I am not going to measure over the dummy cap, but I know it's at least 1 billion DPS. So that's what we're doing there. Let's go over skills before I go over talents. So we're using Split Firebolt. With the gear that I have right now, I don't feel a reason to go to Sparkle. But I guess on even tankier things, like maybe Uber Trav or maybe like some pirate stuff or whatever, I would want to use Sparkle. Or you want to think about Sparkle. But I don't have a 21 Split Firebolt yet. That's really good, of course, to get a 21. We're using Improved Corrosion. We're using Erosion Pen. We're using Greater Multiple. And we're using Slow. Now, those are the supports, these 4, that I'm absolutely sure about. You always want these 4. You want Improved Corrosion, Slow, Greater, and Erosion Pen. They're way too good. Now, this one, I'm not super sure about. This is 35% ailment damage on a 21. On a 21 here, I think you get slightly more on Enhanced Ailment, which might be better. And then a lot of other people are using Control Spell. I'm not sure. I think Control Spell does work. I'm not sure if it's even supposed to work. But also keep in mind that... what am I trying to say here? Added Erosion is good until you get a certain number of base wilt, right? Because it says it adds 76 base wilt. You might think, well, oh, that's very good. It's adding base wilt. Well, keep in mind that you have to keep that you're getting at least 35% additional ailment damage. So is 70, you have to make the calculation for yourself, is 76 base wilt more or less than 35% of my ailment damage? If it's adding, that much, for me, it's definitely not, because my base wilt, because of the skill damage, is so high that I'd rather have the additional, the percent modifier, because it's better than adding the flat. So keep that in mind. Using Frigid Transmission with Reap on it, this is very good. Spiral Strike, of course. Hey, I can even put Burst on this. Look at me not doing stuff. Frost Shield. I love Frost Shield. You can also use Obscure because we're permanently blurred. Frost Shield is great because it gives you lots of less physical damage taken, and that's kind of a weak spot for me right now. So I'm just getting rid of that. This is Troll. This is Aim. You can put Scorching Pulse here for a stronger Reap. I find I just don't want to rely on that damage. I just want to kind of stack my Wilt up. There's other things you can put here. Secret Origin Unleash for just like cast speed and other stuff like that. So I'm messing around here, so don't exactly do Aim, but Aim does increase your ailment damage on that stuff. Aura setup. I like this Aura setup. The precise projectiles and the precise deep pain are very necessary. Or they're huge upgrades, right? Because you get Affliction Generation here, which is super good, and you get Proj Quantity here, which is super good. So these 2 precise are very good. These 2 precise are also good, but you can kind of skirt by without them. Using a Restrain, using a Stand as 1 to get a bunch of aura effect. Precise Curse on hit. We're using Entangled Pain for the additional dot damage, and we're using Blind. I mean, Blind is pretty good. I mean, since we found out that basically minus res is not that impactful. So I don't know if I really want to go into a full explanation right now. But instead of running Corruption, I'd rather just run Blind and be a bit tankier. And we're running Abysmal Hatred as well. And then we're reserving life. Precise Energy Fortress. Straight upgrade from the regular Energy Fortress. A Steadfast for some armor, I guess, and yeah, Magical Source, which could be precise, but I don't really feel like I need it right now. And steel conversion, of course, to reserve that life. Let's go into talents of this build. You want to go Goddess of Darkness. Let me move over to the top left corner here, and I'll do slow pan. But you want to run, so we got damage here, attack and cast speed here. I have 24 points in here. I'm level 96 currently. Wilt chance, wilt damage. And once I hit 97, I'm going to put this point here, 6% additional damage applied to life. And you want wilt duration, of course. And this is how you generate blur, so make sure when you're at 20 points you have this. Plague is very good. It's, dot duration and dot spread. And I'm running Forbidden Power because we're not a life build. We're just getting use of it here. Now, once you get that damage infinity, you want to look into Subtle Impact on your belt or Forbidden Power on your belt, whichever is cheaper, right? So that you can get the one that you don't get here, because Subtle Impact is also very good. And it's skill by blur effect, and we have about 100% blur effect just from the Psychic tree, I believe. So we're going to go into Soulbender here. I'll do a slow pan and then go over the major talents. So you're getting Energy Shield, Erosion Damage, getting lots of minus Mana Seal, Wilt Chance, Wilt Duration, grabbing additional Erosion Damage and applied to life here, getting the Aura stuff. All this stuff up here is good, by the way. So the Aura stuff, getting Erosion Damage at low life, Wilt Damage, Erosion Damage for stack of Wilt, Max Energy Shield, Erosion Resistance and Energy Shield, and then even this 15% Blur effect is not bad. So it's great. Here I'm running Stealth Stab. I think Stealth Stab is probably better than Tainted Blood, but you can also use Ward here if you get Stealth Stab on a belt, like a double belt. So you can get like Stealth Stab in one other thing, I think. And it's pretty good. But I'm just running Stealth Stab right now because it's my only way to get it. And then over here, you just go Blood Sacrifice. You get minus 15. You get so much mana reserve. It's really good. So you want to get Blood Sacrifice. Then we'll go down to Psychic. Do a little slow pan here. Damage against enemies in crowd control. I might swap this up, honestly. Get rid of these 3 points. Something else. I don't know. And then Energy Shield. The Sealed Mana. Here's where we're getting all of our blur, a bunch of our blur effect. We have 15% here and almost 100% here. I think it's 96% blur effect from this one talent. And then we're getting 15% here, so it's over 100. And then we're getting Reap stuff here, Affliction Generation here, and Ailment Duration and Ailment Duration there. Ailment Duration, very good with Wilt. I'm skipping the Curse stuff for now. I like going this setup a bit better. Now we have Affliction versus Daze. I think these are both really good. I think it can go either way. With how much blur effect we have, I'm wondering, it's really close because the generation combined with the effect helps get our reaps off from our gloves and all that other stuff. Since we have 100% blur effect, this is 40%, at least 40% ailment damage and 200% control effects. So Daze is also good. And here I'm running Verbal Abuse. If I got rid of the boots, I wouldn't run more with less. I would just keep on Verbal Abuse for the Curse effect and the one additional Curse, which is giving us Blind, which is doing wonders for us. So those are the talents. We went over the skills, which I usually do last, but I did it before that. I went over the 3 gear that you can have, the 3 gear setups. Obviously, the core part of the build, you want to have Chain, you want to have Torturer's Touch, you want to have a Twilight Vestment. It doesn't have to have the right corrosion on it at first. You can have a crappy helmet on, and then just use Repeated End, and, 4-mod Sack Blade or something, or even an Imploration Dagger. Who cares, right? It's probably fine. And you'll be doing like 70 million around there, and then the build just keeps ramping. 30 FE more, you're doing 300 million. 59 to 70 FE more, you're hitting that dummy cap already. So the build just has room to scale and keep scaling. I'll link. There is a spreadsheet that has sort of leveling stuff and a little different stuff. This is my take on it. I mean, it's sort of like a, yeah. I'm sort of giving you like an upgrade path and all this other stuff. But I will link a spreadsheet that I used to help me out a bunch, and in the description. Anyways, I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Like I said, I might go for crafted boots and not even try and just get rid of this. I think it might be a bit better. And we need to fix the rain. This needs to be ominous. It's not even ominous yet. So this is definitely the strongest build I've played, and the let's get over here, and the strongest build I played this season for sure. And I just wanted to put it out there, show a demonstration of it, show how I'm building it, in case anyone's interested. I think it's a fairly cheap setup. I mean, you know, for getting to T7, it's very cheap, and then you can make cheap upgrades, cheapish upgrades are on the way, and really skill up your DPS. So I think the build is great. If anybody has any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'm Problematic Boy. This has been a build demonstration. I kind of would recommend this build, though. I'm having a great time with it. So maybe it is kind of a guide, since I can actually recommend it. And it's not bugged. Well, there's kind of a wilt bug, but it's not as serious as the bleed bug. So thanks for watching. You can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/problematicboy. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.